You find me in a car park. I mean, it's where you always find me, at least in a car, sometimes in a car park, sometimes on my drive. I've just come out from watching 28 Years Later. It's quite warm in the car, but hopefully I will get through all of this without getting sweaty or passing out. So this is the third installment. Are we referring to it as a franchise now? I guess it is. I also led to understand that there are more films to come in this world. The original was back in 2002. That was 28 Days Later, written by Alex Garland, directed by Danny Boyle, and starring Cillian Murphy, among others. I quite liked it when I saw it. Like, not that I went and watched it repeatedly, but I do remember thinking it was interesting and original, and yeah, and very Danny Boyle. The second one was 2007, so 5 years after, although in the terms of the films I think it's set like 6 weeks after the original. 28 days, 28 weeks, 6 months then. Clues in the title, isn't it? The second one I've only seen once. I remember, again, quite enjoying it, never feeling the need to revisit it. And then many years later, now we have 28 Years Later, and this is a return to the original team of Danny Boyle and Alex Garland. The second one has a completely different team behind it. We're back in safe hands, and this is looking at life as it is now in the UK following the outbreak, the virus, the rage, all of that sort of stuff. And I was interested, curious. As I say, I'm not a huge fan of the other two, but I was interested enough to come and see it. And I'm glad I have, because with anything like this, and particularly with a big release, whether it's Jurassic World Rebirth or this, or I always want to have my own opinion. So yes, I've heard people I know have spoken to me about seeing it, and I've read reviews online of it, and they've been mixed. I really wanted to like it, and one of the main reasons I wanted to go and see it is because I know that it was filmed broadly, or pretty much exclusively, in the northeast of England, which, newsflash, is where I'm from. So for anybody who watches this channel who doesn't actually know me in real life, and those people do exist, which blows my mind, I am from the beautiful city of Newcastle upon Tyne, up on the northeast coast of England. That is my hometown. And the first part of the film is actually set on a separate island. Its proper name is Lindisfarne, but it's known locally as Holy Island. And I have been lucky enough to spend some time on Holy Island. When I was a kid, there was a holiday camp that you could go to in the school holidays, and I was lucky enough to go twice. So when I was about 10, and then again when I was 11. So I know Holy Island, and I know Lindisfarne, and I know how beautiful it is. And yeah, I was excited to see places that I knew on the big screen. There's always something exciting about sitting in a cinema and seeing somewhere you actually know on a cinema screen. And you know, I guess if you live in LA or New York, this happens all the time. But if you live in, or if you're from Newcastle and you now live in Kettering, it doesn't happen as often. So I guess I'll start there. This film looks spectacular, and it really takes advantage of just how breathtaking and in places desolate the parts of the northeast are. Like, there are some really beautiful shots of just rolling hills and open landscape and no people, because the whole point is this is 28 years after the virus, the rage thing has broken out, so there's not a lot in the way of population. We're led to believe from the opening titles that basically the UK has been left to fend for itself, that it is quarantined, the rest of the world has gone back to normal, but we have been shut off. And a community has been built on Lindisfarne because it has a causeway. So it is only accessible twice a day. This is completely true. What they tell you in the film is true. You can only cross over to Holy Island twice a day, and the rest of the time it is cut off from the mainland. So a community is formed. We meet Jamie, played by Aaron Taylor-Johnson, his wife Isla, played by Jodie Comer, and their son Spike, played by a young lad called, I haven't checked, I know his first name's Alfie, and I want to say Williams, so if I'm wrong, I apologise. And we can see how the community works. And when we join them, we know that Spike is about to have his first trip over to the mainland, basically to learn how to kill the infected, to hunt. He's practiced on the island. His dad's obviously trained him up. All the kids are trained to shoot a bow and arrow, and because eventually they will need to go to the mainland to hunt and to get food and keep the community on Holy Island going. And there is quite clearly something wrong with Isla. She's in bed, she's not well, she's complaining of a headache, she's confused, she gets in a rage. She's obviously not a well woman. So they go off to the mainland. Spike manages to kill one infected, but the rest of the time he's terrified because the kid's 12 and he's got fully naked, we're not allowed to call them zombies, but he's got fully naked infected running at him, gnashing their teeth, wanting to rip his head off. And the direction the film takes is that Spike decides he wants to find out what's wrong with his mum. They all live in a very basic existence, so we've got no phones, no internet, no, nothing. It's very, very primitive, and he's never even known a doctor or met a doctor. But then he finds out from one of the old boys living on the island that there is somebody out there in the mainland who is a GP, or used to be a GP in a former life. And the direction the film takes is Spike's quest to find out what's wrong with his mum. So it's about a son's love for his mother. It's about survival. My main sticking point, and it's petty, but it bugged me, is... It's going to sound so petty, because genuinely, I think Jodie Comer is one of the best actors of her generation. I think she's exceptional. I think Aaron Taylor-Johnson, I'll try that again, is very good. But they've both done a lot of press talking about their Geordie accents. They haven't got Geordie accents. What they've got is reasonably impressive generic northeast accents, but they're not Geordie accents. No, they're not. Because some of the pronunciation and some of the vowel sounds are wrong. And I was prepared for this because my big sister's already been to see it and she went, the accent's got up my nose. And if, like I say, if they were doing northeast brackets general, if they were supposed to be from like Durham, bordering on Sunderland, I would have bought it. But don't go around saying you've been watching Cheryl and Sam Fender to get pointers on the accent, claim that you've got a Geordie accent, and then not have one. So that I found grating, which is really petty, but it got up my nose. So yeah, it wasn't the film I expected. It's got some really good set pieces. It's got some really hairy moments where they're being chased down and you don't know how it's going to go. Ralph Fiennes is in it. Got a lot of love for Ralph Fiennes. Always funny sitting there in a cinema. On two fronts this time. I'm sitting in the cinema going, I know these places, I have been there. And also, that man there, that Ralph Fiennes man, I have interviewed him. Admittedly, it was a very long time ago now. It was all the way back in 2005, so 20 years ago. But I have actually, I've interviewed Ralph Fiennes. He's a nice guy, quite shy. And he's very good in this. He brings a lovely bit of heft and gravitas towards the end. So the film is visually stunning. There's some great set pieces. It punched me in the feels towards the end, and then the last 5 minutes is absolutely batshit and makes no sense whatsoever. So overall, I was in it. I was engaged for 2 hours. I was along for the ride. Like I say, it wasn't the film I expected. It wasn't the story I expected them to tell. And then my overriding feeling coming out is just confusion, because I don't understand what the hell the last 5 minutes was about. And now apparently there's going to be at least one more film, if not two. The final thing I will say on the whole matter is that the young lad, and again, I'm so annoyed I forgot to check his surname. I know his first name's Alfie. He's from Gateshead. I don't know, he must be about 13, 14 now. And like when we all lost our minds over Owen Cooper in adolescence earlier this year, this lad is exceptional. Like, his performance is superb. He's on screen most of the time. He's sharing a screen with the likes of Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor-Johnson and Ralph Fiennes, and he's excellent. He's real, he's believable, he's got, emotional range. Like, big up that kid. And well done for the casting people for picking him. Overall, it's all right. Will I ever see it again? Probably not, because the accent's got on my nerves. That's it. Thanks for watching. Katie out.